Welcome back to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host Jay Murph, and today we're going to talk about Bitcoin, a little bit about Ethereum. We're going to talk about on-chain, which I've been a big fan of, and I know many of you have too. And we've made incredible gains on on-chain over the past 4 months. I'm also going to talk about InComing and Injective protocol, and I'm going to share with you why. But before I do, let's go ahead and get this party started. Join me, Rainmakers. All right, now, if you like above average money in crypto, maybe this is the channel you want to tune into. Now, I'm just an investor. I started a YouTube channel just 4 months ago. I don't know audio engineering, video engineering, those kind of things, but what I do know is investments. And I've been an investor for 20 years. I've only been a crypto investor for 4. Though I did make some of the mistakes, even though I had all that investment experience, my first time around. Like many people do, I like to think I made less, but I still made enough. And I learned some very valuable lessons from those that I like to share with you. And I am a value investor and a fundamental analysis type person that I like projects with solid fundamentals. I also look at technical analysis because it helps give me good buy entries on the projects that look interesting to me. So I do talk a lot about the projects I hold. I don't talk about every project I hold because I hold like 100 different things, but I especially try to bring them to you at a time that I think the price is getting attractive based on technical analysis and fundamental analysis. And so that's why I wanted to talk to you about today, because there's have some things going on that I think the technical analysis is showing some good things overall. But before we get into those 2 tokens, let's talk about what Bitcoin dominance is doing. It never completely completed this head and shoulders pattern that we were looking at. Now, if you're new, Bitcoin dominance is the market share that Bitcoin's market cap has versus the market cap of all the altcoins. And unfortunately, stable coins are thrown into that all the altcoins, though I think they should be removed. But in the general Bitcoin dominance chart, they are not removed. And so it used to be that Bitcoin had a huge percent of the market share of the total cryptocurrency market cap. And like 98.56% back in July 2016. But then Ethereum's functionality started to come online, and Ethereum's value went from 25 cents to $400. As well as Ripple and some of the other projects out there like Stellar Lumens, and then Cardano had an ICO, Icon, a bunch of other projects. And so Bitcoin's dominance in the total market cap fell, and then it would climb, and then it would fall, and then it would climb, and then it would fall. And this year is playing out interesting. So last year was Bitcoin's halving, and usually the year following Bitcoin's halving, it has a massive run. And we saw it late in last year. It did have some massive runs all the way to right at the end of December. And since then, it has had some retracement, and it's been bouncing around its all-time high recently. But what's happened is altcoins values have skyrocketed. And so that's why Bitcoin's dominance has fallen, even though it's trading close to what it was back here. The altcoins have run tremendously. And so many of them have had some massive gains, and hopefully many of you have had some massive gains from that. So I don't know about you, I'm here for life-changing wealth. And though I'm an investor, I believe in real estate investment when the timing's right. I believe in stocks when the timing's right. So to me, it's all about not only what is the asset, but what is the timing on the asset. And a lot of real estate has been pumping for a long time, and it's due for a correction. Stocks have been pumping for a long time. They're due for a correction. Now, cryptocurrency had been declining all the way till last year, and now it's partly through its bull run. But in my guess, it's only part the way through its bull run. Let's look at Bitcoin in general, and I saw some interesting theories over the weekend about, wow, Bitcoin might have a big retracement from here because of this band that it's respected at 3 data points. And it could. It could. But what I'm seeing suggests that probably not, because there's going to be a supply crisis on Bitcoin, is my guess. Is some of these people are continuing to pick it up because their expectations are it'll continue to do really well this year. And then what happens is your buyers vastly exceed your sellers, and then you have a big increase in price. Now, it has respected this straight line here, at least in the last 2 data points. So if it moves sideways for a while before hitting that top, it might reach 400,000. If it hits sooner and it respects this line, it might only go to like 340, or could even go to like 240 or 280. We'll see how this year plays out. Now, I had been holding some of my portfolio in Bitcoin, but as of about a month ago, I put it all into altcoins because I thought, well, Bitcoin was trading about 50,000. I thought Bitcoin could do anywhere from 3.5x from here to 7x from here. What do I think the altcoins that I'm interested in can do versus that? Well, I was looking at 10, 20, 50, or 100x, depending on the altcoin and the risk versus reward on them. So I thought, it just makes more sense for me to be mostly in altcoins during this window. And this window is probably for the next 6 months. Now, I realize at some point Bitcoin is going to have a massive run, and what sometimes happens during that, when Bitcoin has a massive run, is that people sell their altcoins and they FOMO into Bitcoin, which pushes Bitcoin's price up and altcoins price down. That's okay. I'm just going to hold through that. That's not going to scare me. Still, the time frame that I'm looking in, Bitcoin has this kind of window and altcoins have this kind of window. That's just my best guess. Now, do note that none of this is financial advice to you, so don't construe it as financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just an investor, and I'm sharing with you the decisions that I'm making for my own portfolio. As to whatever decision you make for your own portfolio, that's up to you. Bitcoin is following this W pattern that we talked about. Ethereum has been following this W pattern we talked about before. And what often happens when it does this little W, the end of the W, it actually usually comes down to, see right here, is usually equal to this line here. And it's played out perfectly like that and then bounced up. And often is then due for a run. And I would expect that's going to happen pretty soon. Am I holding Ethereum? Not much. Not much. And the reason is there's other altcoins that I like a lot more. And though Ethereum will probably do pretty well from here, I wouldn't be surprised if it did $10,000, maybe even $20,000, which is, 4.5x from here. The reason why I'm not holding a lot of it is I'm in other things that I hope will do a lot better than that. And one of those things that I hope will do a lot better than that is Wanchain. Now, we've been following this on the channel a lot. This is one of my favorites. Favorites because some people are totally sleeping on this, and that's okay. They'll wake up to it. I like to buy things that are gems that are undervalued. Not when everybody's talking about them and we've missed the major pumps, or I've missed the major pumps. I like to catch them when I think they're underpriced versus the value they bring to the table. And I talk about Wanchain a lot. And I've been a big fan. I've been buying it since crypto winter, but I've been talking about it since I started my channel. In January, I started talking about Wanchain, and back then it was 30 something cents. So it's 7x from 30 cents. So it's done some tremendous gains from 30 cents, and I feel like it has a lot longer to go. And let me share with you this. Let's see. We're going to look at Wanchain. Let me show you how low this market cap is, even though it's 7x. And for a tier 1 project, which in my opinion, they are definitely a tier 1 project. And they're still at a market cap of only 370 million. Much of their supply is already in circulation. They are the leaders in cross-chain compatibility, and they have a very smart team. In fact, they landed recently one of the biggest deals in all of cryptocurrency, that the State Energy Grid Corporation of China is going to utilize Wanchain's technology to track all their customer database and data usage, or not data usage, but electricity usage, etc. Now, they're going to run it on their own private net, but they're basically running on Wanchain's technology, which is a huge endorsement of their project by one of the largest corporations in the world. And trust me, other enterprise blockchains or enterprise customers are looking at that, and they're looking at Wanchain now. So, I mean, that is a big endorsement that their technology is solid. All right, some projects related to WanChain that have been a lot of fun, that we've made a lot of gains while WanChain has been increasing, and that's WanSwap. And if you haven't followed one of my videos on this, you probably want to go back and look at that, because you can do some very inexpensive farming, inexpensive as far as transaction fees, to make some additional gains, kind of what liquidity providing and liquidity pool farming does for you. And if you're new to crypto, it's hard to understand what's going on with that. I wasn't new to crypto, but DeFi hit pretty big last year, and me trying to wrap my mind around it took me a month or two just to even start to understand it. So I get it if it's difficult to understand. They do have really good support on their Telegram for WanSwap. They just released Zookeeper, which I did a video on Saturday about, and it's kind of gamified liquidity farming, which adds some cool things. So right now I have some liquidity provided here, and I'm earning some WASP token. And what's cool is they'll start giving us the Zoo tokens in a few days, and those Zoo tokens I'm really looking forward to. Let's go over to one of the ones I most wanted to talk about today. Now, this is InComing. And if you follow my channel, you know I've been big on Vivi and their collectible app, and they're going through some growing pains. They did not expect to be where they are right now. They expected they'd have 10,000 users. And as of the last time I checked, they had 170,000 users on it, which is a good problem to have, but it does lead to some growing pains, and they're not much different from the growing pains of NBA Top Shots, which is they have so much traffic, their servers totally get shut down when they have any kind of new drop or release. And so it's been crashing their servers. Now, they had some massive runs, and unfortunately we can't chart it using TradingView because the two exchanges that they're on do not report to TradingView, and so we're stuck with looking at it right here on this. So unfortunately I can't pull up the direct charts, but if you do look, we are seeing this trend that this is a solid support line, and it's coming back to this support line. Now, it could break low from this. Realize there are a lot of big players that bought OMI really, really cheap anywhere back here. So just know if it hits this, it could either bounce up or it could actually break through this time when it tests it. I do know that not too terrible of a price right here, so I did just make a purchase and load it up some more. I'll probably have another buy order right around here, and I'll have a much bigger buy order down below. Not all the way to this previous support, but somewhere near there that will be my biggest buy order. So if it comes down there, fantastic. Couple reasons why I'm interested in OMI tokens is because, first of all, their full functionality isn't fully understood. They promise to allow some staking on the site, as well as that can help you get a master collector badge. And if you're a master collector, you just get exclusive entry on some of their NFTs that they release, and so we'll see how that plays out. Overall, I think it has a long ways to go from here. It's due a big retracement after such a big run up, because from here to here, it literally did like 200x, or that might even be 2000x, crazy increases. And when that happens, it needs to cool off, because so many people have it that they bought down here and they're just dumping it, and they get scared. Unfortunate for them and good for us. When it hits these lines and then goes lower, they then dump because they're worried it'll keep going down, and that's what provides some really good buys for us that feel like the value in the future can be a lot higher. Now, do note that the market cap is already almost 1.4 billion. Now, one of the reasons I like this a lot, and the total supply, max supply, would be 750 million, but they do burn some of their tokens, and they have some mechanisms for burning tokens as people make purchases on their site. And so it's not as high as this would make it seem, but there are a lot of tokens out there, and that is priced in with this low price per token. Now think about it. They're not yet on any major exchanges yet. Imagine if they got a Binance listing. Imagine if they got a Coinbase listing, and what that could do for the price. So do I think that'll happen? Yes, I think probably behind the scenes Binance and Coinbase are already looking at how to do that, because this has been one of the most talked about coins anywhere. In fact, Andre Jick, who I'm a big fan of, he runs a financial sector YouTube channel that sometimes talks about cryptocurrency. Brilliant guy. I mean, his videos are very fun to watch. He's very entertaining, very likable. And he talked about how he just put $150,000 into OMI tokens. Now, my guess is a lot of his viewers aren't savvy enough to know how to, they aren't crypto experts yet. And so probably overwhelming them how to get OMI tokens, because it's not easy. Because literally, you have to go buy Bitcoin on an exchange that has a fiat gateway, then send it to an exchange like Bitforex. In fact, let's look here. Bitforex or Gate.io, or they actually have it on Uniswap, but that's beyond the abilities for new people that haven't followed cryptocurrency for a while. And so the impact of his video on that, even though he has over 1 million subscribers, hasn't really been felt yet because it's probably a little bit too complex for them. But they are probably remembering that and thinking about it, and maybe even going to the VV app. And so imagine when this gets added on, say, Qcoin I'm a big fan of, but even bigger than Qcoin at Binance and then Coinbase. And on Coinbase or Binance, where they have fiat gateways, they can go ahead and just load up their money and then buy OMI tokens. And I think it can go a heck of a lot higher than here. If you think about Dogecoin and why Dogecoin does well, it's like not the perfect meme coin, but it's a good meme coin. The problem with it is there's no scarcity of supply, because like every 10-minute block, a huge amount of new supply comes on the market every 10 minutes. And there's no curve on that like Bitcoin has, where there's a halving every 4 years. Well, Dogecoin doesn't have a halving, and so it endlessly puts more tokens on the blockchain, whereas InComing has a capped supply here. Now, there are more that get added, which is fine, but this is a much, much better meme coin with an actual use case. And it's so cheap per coin that you have people saying, oh my gosh, OMI to $1. And it could actually reach $1. Whereas Dogecoin, if it ever hits $1, it should never hit $1. I'm not saying whether it will or not, but the supply problem, people just don't realize over time it's a declining value asset because the increase in supply is so endless, versus tokens like OMI that have much better token metrics behind them. And so that's one of the reasons I bought a bunch of Holochain about 6 months ago, and all of a sudden Holochain has done absolutely phenomenally, is because it also is a really good cheap token that's kind of a meme, like, hey, hot is hot, you know. And so it's actually hit like I suspected it would do. All right, so this, back to this, so buy zone around here, really attractive for me, but I'm not going to spend everything until I see it hit lower numbers. But I did put in a buy order that got filled already earlier this morning, and I'm looking for some more buy orders that I'll put in. And I just transferred some more over so that I can make more buys, as hopefully it continues to fall. Now this is one that I did a video back when it was $1.70, and Injective has had a massive run since then. In fact, it went all the way at its peak to $17, so 10x from when I was covering it. And unfortunately, I didn't get it at the very beginning. So I was talking about it roughly here. I think this is one of my very first videos. And I bought it at $1.70. And now, you know, it went to $17. It's retracing. But there's some good news for those of you who don't have Injective protocol. And that is they have a large token release for some of their pre-sale investors that bought. So I think a third of the pre-sale tokens will be released. And so many of these people bought for like 12 cents. So guess what's going to happen when they get a hold of their tokens? Yep, many of them are going to dump them. That's fantastic. That's great news, because hopefully we can pick up some more Injective even cheaper. And so anywhere below this price gets pretty attractive to me. And I would love it if they just dumped them in over a couple of days and it went really low. And now, what is Injective? So they're in one of the best use cases for cryptocurrency. There's a few use cases that are amazing. One is collectibles, because you can guarantee that it is what it's supposed to be. And so you can guarantee its scarcity. More so than you even can a painting, right? Because you can always paint a fake Mona Lisa and you can try to date the paint or whatever, and it's hard to do on something as old as Mona Lisa. But, cryptographical encryption can prove that it is what it's supposed to be. And I like that about the collectible side of it. And it's okay that it's digital. If they copied, yeah, it really is about collectibles that people want, though. Like the NBA Top Shots is people going to want those, or like the InComing collectibles and what they're doing, people are going to want those. So I don't like all NFTs, but I like NFTs I think will have high desirability in the future. Secondly is derivatives. Derivatives trading, and derivatives allows people to trade derivatives on other things like oil futures and stuff. They can buy a derivative of it. So they don't have to actually take control of, say, the oil, and yet they can be invested in oil because they're buying a derivative of the oil. So that is one of the best use cases for blockchain. And so synthetics has really taken off since synthetics came out like 3 years ago, had a big retrace during the down market, and then it was down at like 5 cents, and last I checked it was like $20. And so a massive, massive increase. Injective protocol, I saw it at $1.70. I think the pre-sale price was 12 cents. And it has had some massive increases. But I feel like this market cap is still pretty attractive, especially if it retraces from here. Now, do note that only part of the supply is in circulation. And so there will be an increasing number of tokens that continue to come on the market in the coming years. But I'm still very interested in this one, should it have a nice retrace. Now, let's look at the charts on it. So this is the chart, and it bounced off of this resistance here and has come down. And so anywhere down this, or even should it break below this, that would be fantastic, and some fantastic buys on Injective. So if you're wondering where to get it, let's go to the markets here. You can buy it on Binance. If you don't already have a Binance account, you want to go ahead and get one. Now, I do have a link below. You don't have to use that link, but if you do, it'll give you up to 10% of your own trades back, or trading fees back to you. Another place you can get it is, well, they have all these like Poloniex, which is a big exchange. They were huge in 2017. They just got passed up back then by Binance because Binance was a lot easier for new customers to come on when things got crazy. And so Huobi in Korea, you can get it on Uniswap, which is where I've often got mine. And I know we all hate the fees on that, but it is a possibility. So those are the many places you can buy it. Now, I want to come and talk a little bit more about WanChain. Let's see, I've got this. So we have come back down here. Now we keep hitting some support here. Let's go. Now this is such a big one that I've been a fan of. Darn it, we don't go back far enough on this to see the previous. Now the previous all-time highs were at like 960. And so we're bouncing off some support there. In fact, let's look at it here. Keeps bouncing right around this zone at 225. Now if you look back here, that's where a lot of resistance was in the past. So once we punch through this though, we probably will have a solid line up to the 450 mark, where we have a lot of room to grow up to there, and maybe where it hit this low here. I can't exactly see what that number is. But anyway, WanChain, huge fan of. I think it's got a long ways to go from here, and so as I've been taking profits on some of my other things that have done really, really well, I've been rolling more of it into WanChain in general. I did want to share with you, in case you saw this really cool shirt, a friend of mine made these. Now, this friend, really cool young guy. Now, he actually was a millionaire at the age of 18. Really solid in business, and he's got a lot of things going on, but he's like, hey, I made this brand. I'm going to call it Diamond Boys, and I'm going to make some shirts related to it. And I was like, hey, that sounds great, because I like the name alone, Diamond Boys. And I was like, what I'd love is, because this logo takes up such a big thing in the center, I'd love to see like a smaller one here rather than a big thing. Well, I was like, Diamond Boys, that's really cool, because I don't know about you, but you could say I have diamond hands. I do not get shaken out when the market has a downturn. So I am looking for when the market has a bigger downturn, because the crypto winter is probably going to be here again, but we're just a long ways away from that. So these little like down days that we have, sometimes they're down week or down 2 week period. I love them because that's when I buy more. And so, it says on the back, I'm just cut differently. I like that a lot. And I was like, hey, yeah, throw us a link that we can put on there so that people can buy the shirts. I bet you some other people would be interested in them too, but I definitely want one for myself. In fact, if you make the logo like here on the side, I'll buy a couple more. I was like, that's really cool. All right, so if you're interested in that, So I don't know the details on that. These are his first shirts that came in. And so I went ahead and picked up this one. Loved it a lot. I do want to share with you overall, I'm very, very positive about this market. I do think we're possibly halfway through this bull market. There are some great opportunities still out there on a lot of these tokens that are great. The pre-sale opportunities is where some big money is, but they're really hard to get into, and I wish it wasn't the case back in 2017. It was a lot easier to get into initial coin offerings and even some pre-sales, and this year it's getting really hard to get into the pre-sales, but those launch pads are great places. However, the downside of them is that you have to hold a bunch of their tokens. So whether it's DuckDAO or it's pools or it's Paid's Ignition Launchpad, they're fantastic, and they're good incubators for some projects that really get them doing great from the beginning. However, you do have to oftentimes invest 10, 20, 30, $40,000 in the tokens just to be eligible to hopefully get whitelisted to be able to buy a small allocation. And that can be rough, but the returns can be phenomenal if you're able to get in on those. So if you haven't, you might want to check out some of my videos on the launch pads that are out there. Those tokens are pretty expensive. You can get into DuckDAOs for cheaper than normal, and there's two ways to go with DuckDAO, and one is their DDIM token, their DuckDAO Dime, and you have to hold these in, say, a MetaMask wallet, and you have to hold at least 10. And what you're then looking for is their Telegram channel. So if you buy 10 of these, so that would cost you roughly $800, and it can put you in what they call the Fight Club, where you can get some allocations in there for pre-sales, and they don't let you put a lot in. It might only be $100, $150, $200, but oftentimes, because they do such a good job with their projects, that $100 turns into $1,000. The downside is you have to put $800 just to be in the Fight Club, but it's really a good way to go for them. Don't pass up that opportunity. That one's one of the best ones out there. You can get in their Duck Starter thing, but I found actually getting their Duck Starter releases, their Duck Starter stuff has done phenomenal. Now, the reason these tokens are dropping is because right now they're having some farming bonuses for those that are providing liquidity. And so this was bound to happen. So essentially a bunch more tokens are releasing between DDIM and Duck tokens onto the market, temporarily driving down these prices, which makes for some good entries if you're looking at getting involved in a good launch pad. It's not a bad way to go. I do want to thank all of you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, overall, I'd love it if you subscribed with the shared vision of I started this channel to be able to have more reach, to be able to reach out to the projects directly and actually have them either take my call or interact with me so I could find more of that deeper information, not the private information that they're under non-disclosures that they can't talk about, but a lot of times there's really good information out there. Just hasn't hit public awareness. And a lot of people who have YouTube channels, I don't know if they don't know to ask these questions, whatever, but they don't share that information on their channel. And so I felt like if I wanted to get better information for me to make better decisions when investing, I needed to find a way to grow a YouTube channel to add enough value to you so you would want to share this vision with me and join me on this journey of growing the channel together so that we can get access to those projects behind the scenes, find out the best information out there, and then I can share that with you on what's going on with these projects. Now, one of the reasons I talk about Chain a lot is some of the devs behind it have been very open, transparent with me, and they've been very good at providing information on what's going on with Wand Swap, Zookeeper, other things, is provide some extra value. And I've talked about Wand Chain a lot. This was actually one of the projects I most wanted to speak to when I started this channel, and having this channel made that possible. Now, as the channel continues to grow, be able to talk with more and more and more of the projects out there, and hopefully down the road all the big ones, so that I can share that information with you and what I'm learning, so that we're not finding out last the information after, oh my gosh, whatever token just pumped 300% in a day because this news came out, and shoot, well gosh, this isn't even private information that was finally released. We just weren't aware of it. And so last market cycle, I missed a bunch of those. This market cycle, I didn't want to miss those. And this was my best way to be able to have the contact and connections it would take to find out that information early so we can be ahead of the curve. And if you want to be ahead of the curve, then love it if you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, I do have, if you hit see more on the YouTube things, we do have our Telegram channel there, and I do pop in on there. I have 2 admins that help run that for me. Also, if you've been waiting for the trading course, Angel has recorded 2 of the videos for the trading course. The printed material is taking a while, and it just is what it is. We are putting this out for free, so I know there's a lot of courses out there that you can pay some big bucks for. In this case, we're providing it free to you because we couldn't figure out the right cost to charge for it. With some places, it would price them out of it completely, and so we just felt like free would be the best price to you. And in return, we just ask that you do well with the information. If you do really well with the information, great, but use it wisely. A lot of people get wrecked on the day trading stuff, and especially leverage trading. I strongly caution you against leverage trading. I know as a YouTube channel, I could have a Bybit link in there, and Bybit pays amazing referral links. I don't have one in there because I know too many people that get wrecked trading on leverage when they're not ready for it, and I would hate to see that for all of you. Do want to share with you our exit song. This is from Manuela in Argentina. It's for all of you rainmakers out there. Rainmakers are those that subscribe to the channel and they like every one of my videos to help share this vision of growing the channel so that we can get better information.
Success is falling, flowing like rain. The timing's right, we're getting paid. Come on, rainmakers, let's make this happen.